Hey, it's Dr. McLean, and I've been getting a lot of questions lately on weight loss, and so I thought I'd just shoot a real short video on some of the things that are not typically covered in the mainstream media or talked about when it comes to weight loss. And if you want some further help on this or have questions on it, a couple things. We have a really awesome program in our office called ChiroThin that works amazing, 100% natural at balancing hormones. There's no processed foods or packaged foods or drugs. No hormone injections, nothing like that. It's 100% natural. If you want some information on that, let us know and we'll set up a consultation. Number one. Number two, just if you have additional questions, feel free to email, text, or call, and we'd be happy to answer any specific questions that you might have. So a couple of things. One that I don't really typically hear talked about is number one is being in a relaxed state. And so we have what's called our fight or flight or sympathetic state, and we have what's called a parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest, or two different parts of our nervous system. And with the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest, that's where we should be spending the majority of our time. We're relaxed, life is going good, we do not have any issues. But because we're in modern times today, there's a lot of things that can trigger what's called the fight or flight response. These stress hormones, and they're meant for literally fight or flight. That's why it's called that. Or again, called the sympathetic nervous system, sympathetic response. So if you're in a sympathetic state because you're stressed about your job, your relationships, your financial situations, I mean, we've had a lot of financial changes here in the last couple of years with our economy. Those things trigger the fight or flight response, and your nervous system goes into a preparation for life or death, even though you know, even if you had financial issues or things like that, or relationship issues, you're not going to die, very unlikely to die, but your nervous system doesn't recognize the difference. So when you're under this fight or flight response, your nervous system is not thinking about burning fat, it's thinking about storing fat because it's preparing for a famine or some type of life or death situation. So you could be eating pretty healthy foods and it's going to be more likely to be stored as fat because of that stress response. So it's a simple thing, but it's really important. And this has a lot of other health implications as well. But consider that of spending or investing some of your time in meditation, breathing exercises, relaxation techniques. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but you want to invest some time in that. It doesn't seem to be related to weight loss because we're thinking calories in and calories out, but that's just not the basis. So that's number one, is being, working on being in a peaceful state. Number two is the old adage of calories in, calories out, meaning that you just simply need to burn more calories than you take in and you're going to lose weight. That's just not the case anymore. I think that was probably true maybe 40 or 50 years ago before we didn't have all these additives and sugars and things in our food system, but it's just not true anymore. Not saying calories are not important, but it's much more important the type of food you're eating versus the amount of calories. I mean, obviously, 500 calories of salad or vegetables is much different than 500 calories of fruit or 500 calories of dessert. It's not just calories in, calories out. So to think about something called the glycemic index of foods, and glycemic is how the glycemic index measures how fast or slow a food is going to spike your blood sugar. So if you have, like, let's say an orange, even though an orange is natural and healthy, it's a lot of sugars, it's going to spike your blood sugar pretty high. Cucumber or some lettuce or some type of vegetable is going to raise your blood sugar much slower, which is what you want. And so you can just Google glycemic index of food, start to pay attention to the type of foods you're eating. You want to err much more towards healthy fats. We don't want to avoid fat, eating healthy fats. Be cautious on the type of fruits and the amount of fruits you're eating. Even though fruit's natural, you can overdo your fruits. You really can't overdo your vegetables. I'm sure you could. But if you're eating vegetables, they're not going to have a massive impact on your blood sugars, and you can eat a lot more of those things and not really worry about the impacts. And you're going to get more natural feedback, meaning when you've eaten enough, you're going to feel full, versus if you're eating these empty calories, these processed foods, you can eat a lot more because you're not getting the feedback mechanism of feeling full. I mentioned fats. There's a lot of really bad fats in our food system. Processed fats, trans fats, things like canola oil that really damage your health. They clog up your system. They're going to cause you to gain weight. So we have a list called the Fats and Fruits list. It has the comparison of which fruits you should be eating, which ones you should eat more sparingly, which fats you should avoid, which fats you should eat more of. So if you want that list, just text or call or ask us in the office and we'll send that out to you. So fats, really be conscious of getting good healthy fats in. Sugars, I think, is an obvious one, but you have to really be conscious of the amount of sugar that's going into your body. Again, I mentioned the fruits, but also sugars, any ingredient that ends in OSE, fructose, sucrose, those are sugars. So you have to be really cautious. Read the ingredients label. You've got to read the ingredients label. Even if it says it's a healthy food, it may have tons of sugars in there, so be really cautious of that. And then lifting weights. This is something I see, especially women kind of avoid because they don't want to get too muscular or too bulky, but lifting weights, adding lean muscle is one of the best things you can do, not only to lose weight, but also to keep that weight off, because muscle burns much more calories than fat does, obviously. And so you increase your metabolism by lifting weights and adding lean muscle. And it's also one of the best things you can do in terms of longevity. The other thing, last thing I'll mention is toxins. And toxins are anything that goes into your body that's not natural. So this could come from things going on your skin, things like deodorants, shampoos, conditioners, makeups, shaving cream. It can come from, obviously, the foods that we eat. It can come from medications. Medications are a toxin. They're man-made. So you have to be really conscious because your body is going to want to store and keep fat to offset the stress of these toxins. I heard one research that said that a lot of people, when they get to middle age and they start to gain weight, it has really nothing to do with the amount of food they're eating. It has to do with the accumulation of toxins over time, and then your body's adding fat to try to buffer out those toxins. So be really cautious of those things. Again, if you have questions on this, hopefully this is helpful. Let us know. I'll be happy to answer those questions in the office for you and help you turn yourself into a good, awesome fat burner versus a sugar burner to lose that weight and to keep that weight off.